Want to make a Roman shade for your window that looks just like this? Today I'm going to show you how. Hi everyone, it's Christina from the DIYmommy.com, and I'm going to show you how to make one of my favorite window coverings today, and it is a DIY Roman shade. I shared this on my blog a few years ago and it was one of the most loved tutorials on there. So I thought I'd come share it with all of you today. If you are new at sewing, this is a fantastic first project because all you need to know to sew are straight lines. This is a fantastic window covering for an awkward window where drapes just won't work. It looks classy and it's easy to alter to any window size, so let's get started. To begin, measure the height and the width of the window that you want to create the Roman shade for. You can mount the shade on the outside of your window frame or the inside, so measure your window appropriately. I'm using inches for my measurement today. Please note before you make this shade that this is not a good option for any window that a small child can access because it has the string. I'll link to some no string options down in the description box below from some of my blogging friends. Here's the materials you'll need. You'll need a 1x2 piece of lumber that is as wide as you want your Roman shade to be. You'll also need 4 dowels. These are 1/4 inch dowels. They're oak and I found them at the Home Depot. Make sure they're also the width that you want your Roman shade to be. You'll need some brackets if you want to mount the Roman shade above your window frame. If you want to mount the Roman shade inside your window frame and your window frame is wood, you can just use some long wood screws, but use brackets, these L-shaped ones, if you want to mount your shade above. You'll also need 2 of these eye hooks, and then you'll also need some screws to attach the brackets to the piece of lumber or to attach the lumber itself to the inside of the window frame. You'll need these round plastic shade rings. You can find these online or at a fabric store. I'll make sure to link everything down in the description box below if you can find it online. You're going to need 8 of these. You'll also want some nylon string. Macrame cord works as well. And finally, you'll need 2 yards of decorator's fabric. Buy more if your window is relatively large. I'll link to this one down in the description box below. I've wanted to use it for quite some time. It is a really gorgeous linen cotton blend. Step number 1 is cut a piece of fabric that's 2 inches wider than you want your shade to be and 7 inches longer. Remember that you want your shade to completely cover the height of your window and a little bit more when it's fully let down. Also, don't forget that you can mount your shade on the outside of your window frame or the inside, so add the width accordingly. For my fabric, it was a little bit tricky because the pattern didn't quite center properly when I wanted to cut it the certain width for my window. So it's a little off center. I don't know if I should have maybe just left the flowers on the sides, but I thought I would save some extra fabric for a pillow that would match the window shade. Let me know at the end of this video if you think that was the right decision to make it slightly off centered, or if I should have just wasted a bit of fabric and had the flowers on either side. Next, press the sides and bottom of the shade over a 1/2 inch to the wrong side. You can use an ironing board and an iron. Fold them another 1/2 inch and press again. Now you're going to need a sewing machine, and like I said at the beginning of this video, this is a great beginner sewing project because you're simply sewing very straight seams. I'll link a great beginner sewing machine in the description box below. Being able to sew is such a fantastic way to decorate your home on a budget, and I know you'll love it once you start. I'm using a regular stitch and some cotton thread. Sew these hems down with your sewing machine, and make sure to leave the 2 ends of the bottom hem open so that you can slide a dowel through it later. Now it's time to make the rest of the dowel casings. Subtract 3 inches off of the remaining height of your fabric for stapling your blind to your piece of wood later on, and divide that by 4. The resulting number will be how far apart you want each dowel casing. Mine for this particular shade happened to be 13 inches apart. So you can start by measuring from the bottom and mark where your dowel casings will be with a pin, or you can draw a line with a pencil and a ruler. Now fold your blind right sides together at each mark and pin again. I'm a little bit of a rebel with pinning. I didn't pin them, I just kind of marked my lines. Now you want to sew a 5/8 to a 3/4 seam at each mark, and then you can insert a dowel into each casing you've created at the end. Make sure to backstitch at the beginning and the end of your seam to make sure it stays nicely. Now you can insert the wooden dowels into the casings that you created, as well as that bottom hem. You can paint the wood piece like I did here. It's going to help hide it, especially if you're mounting your blind above the window, or you can leave it raw. That's completely up to you. Next, staple the fabric blind to the piece of wood by wrapping the blind around the thick side of the wood and onto the thin side as shown. I will link my tools down in the description box below as well, like this handy dandy electric staple gun. If you are using brackets, you can prepare the wooden hanging piece now by screwing the brackets about 1 inch from each end. That's if you're hanging your Roman shade above the window like I had originally in my studio. I'm not going to use these here today though. Next, you want to screw the eye screws about 3 inches from each end, as I'm doing here. Now take the plastic shade rings and you're going to hand sew those onto the shade. Sew them 3 inches from each edge, right in the middle of the casings you created. I'm using a needle and some cotton thread, and I'm hand sewing them on just like this. I make a firm knot, put it through the fabric, and sew through the ring about 6 times. Then I finish off with a strong square knot. Sew 4 rings down one side and 4 rings up the other, so you have a ring on each dowel as well as the dowel at the bottom. Finally, it's time to tie on the string that will pull the drape up and down. And tie one end of the string onto the bottom right ring, thread it upwards and through each ring above, through the right eye screw, through the left eye screw, and down through all the remaining rings on the left. Leave at least 6 inches of extra string and cut off the rest. For the left side, tie one end of the string to the bottom left ring, thread it up and through each ring above, through and over the top left eye screw, and then just go back through all of the rings on the left again. Again, leave extra string and cut off the rest. Make sure you use good, solid square knots when tying the string so it doesn't come loose. Now you're going to mount your Roman shade above your window using either the brackets or screwing the wood directly into the window frame with long wood screws. I'm doing the latter for this one because I wanted to mount my shade on the inside this time. But here's a look at how it previously looked mounted on the outside with the L-shaped brackets. You're also going to want to install a hook or screw at the bottom side of your window to hold the extra string, and then you can just wrap the string around to keep the shade in the desired position. Now you have a beautiful DIY Roman shade that you can easily pull up and down. It has a chic pleated look and it looks so nice and tailored. I love how this fabric looks in my studio kitchen here, and I can't wait to sew a pillow to match. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know down in those comments below if you would ever try to sew a DIY Roman shade, or if you have before and if you have a different technique. I would love to know. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more DIY and decor ideas on a budget. And I'm going to leave some more videos that I hope you will enjoy and watch next right up here.